Today's video we'll be talking about SUMIF, COUNTIF, SUMIFS and COUNTIFS functions in Excel. So we'll still be using our little table from the last video. All right. So from this table, let's say we want to get the total revenue for each sales rep. Okay. So SUMIF function would sum up values for us when a particular condition is met. For example, we want to sum up the revenue for the first sales rep, John. Okay, so you can see John appeared in row 2, row 7, row 17, and row 20. It should be very time consuming to start adding up each figures on each rows manually. This is what Excel can do for us. So by invoking the SUMIF function, this will add up these values for us when a particular condition is met. Right? So let's dive into it. Let's invoke the SUMIF function to get the total revenue for these sales reps. Okay, so type first of all, the first thing you need to do is type the equal sign. So equals SUMIF. So you can either double click on the function you want to call or you press your tab key. Okay, so what range are we looking at? What range is our criteria? So the search criteria is John, and what range, where can we find it? So John is in the sales rep column. Okay, so and which is cell B2 to B21. Okay, that is our range. Okay, and what is the criteria? Our criteria is John. Okay, from the past video, we'll recall that instead of typing the word John into the formula, we'll just use the cell name. Okay, which is L3. So doing this would make it will make the formula scalable and dynamic. So what if we have just one cell? What if you remove John from that list and from that cell and impute another name on still on the range? The formula will give you the result will be updated to reflect the accurate value for the name still in that range. Okay, so our criteria is L3. And what is the sum range? So we want to get the total revenue for John. Okay, and the range for that is still F2 to F21. Remember in the last video we named this column total revenue, so you can just press the tab key. Okay, so now that's the end of the formula. We just need to press the return key. So you can either close the bracket. It's not compulsory. It's absolutely optional. You can either close the bracket or just press your enter button. It still gives you the same answer. Okay, so we can now see what the total revenue is for John. Right. So to get the same thing for Michael, Emily, and Sarah, all we just need to do is to use the fill handle to fill the fill handle to get to fill down for the remaining sales rep. Okay, so this is nice and simple. All right. So talking about the COUNTIF function in Excel. So we have a list of sales rep and we want to know how many times each name appears on the sales table. All right. On this particular table, we want to see how many times. There are 4 distinct names appearing in 21 times. So we want to know how many times each name appeared. So for John, you just want to count. So that is what we need to do, just to count how many times John appeared, how many times Michael appeared, Emily answered, how many times each sales rep name appeared on the sales table. So to do that, we would invoke the count if function. So the count if function, what that would do is to count from a particular range when a particular condition is met. Okay, so let's go because count if press a tab key. And what is the range? So our range, the range you want to count from is the sales rep column, which is still B2 through B21. Okay, then comma, what is our criteria? Our criteria, instead of typing the full name, John Michael, just put the cell reference, which is P3. Okay, then from here, that's the end. We can just tap the return key at the enter button and it goes straight up. So that means on this table, John appeared 4 times. And we can also go back to check through. This is 1, John 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so the same way to get the number of times the other sales reps appeared, we can use the fill handle and fill down the table. Okay, so we can see Michael appeared 5 times, Emily 5, and Sarah appeared 6 times. All right, so we also need to talk about the SUMIFS function. So SUMIF function in Excel adds is a set of values for us when a particular condition is met. but some ifs will add values up for us if two or more conditions are met. If two or more conditions are met. All right, so we'll still use this table as an example, and we'll use the total revenue as well. Okay, so let's say on this I've added this particular column region. Let's say we want to get the total revenue John made in the north. Okay, there are two regions on the table. We have the south and north. So what if we want to get the total revenue John made from the north? Okay, so these are two conditions. We want to get total revenue when the sales rep is John, and also when the region is north. And for this particular row, we want to get the total revenue for total revenue when the sales rep is Sarah and when the region is okay. So that is when we invoke the sum ifs function, because there are two conditions involved. Okay, so sum ifs, the tab key. And what is the sum range? The sum range is the revenue column. Okay, so I already named this particular column, but you just if you're seeing this video for the first time, you can just drag through the cells, the cell range. That's the cell range. Okay, I already named it in the last video. That's why I brought out total revenue. Okay, so that's the sum range. And what is our criteria range one? So this is condition one, condition two. So criteria range one is the region. So we'll also type in the range, which is C2 to C21. That is our criteria range one. Okay, and what is the first criteria? The first criteria is north. We want to get the total revenue when the sales rep is John and when the region is north. Okay, so using the cell reference, cell K13, you can see the name of the cell up here. Okay, cell K13, comma. Then what is the criteria range 2? Okay, so as the second criteria range, it would be the sales rep column, which is cell B2 through B21. Okay, and our second criteria is John. Okay, you can either close the bracket or press the enter key. Right, so you can see that is the total revenue John made from the north. Okay. To get the same thing for other sales reps, you can also use the fill handle to drag down, and you get the figures for other sales rep. Okay. So if we look at the formula C4, okay, so this has moved to heavily because we didn't use absolute referencing, we only use relative referencing. So the rows can move. Okay, this will move down to this. You can see this is B4. Okay, L15, and this is L16. Okay, so and that's 0. All right, so that is it for some ifs. All right, so to talk about COUNTIFS function in Excel. So same way, COUNTIF, we only count values, we only count cells based on a particular conditions. Okay, based on a particular condition. For COUNTIFs, we'll count values based on two or more conditions. Okay, so what if we want to get the total number of total number of times each sales rep made sales from a particular region. Okay, so for example, we want to count the number of times John made revenue from the north. Okay, so what we just need to do is invoke the COUNTIFS function. COUNTIFS. Okay, So the criteria range one will be um, our sales rep column as cell C2 to C21. Okay. And the criteria one, the very first criteria will be John. Okay, be John. And the criteria range two will be our region. Okay, because we want to count how many times the sales rep made sales from a particular region. Okay, and what will be the criteria range two is no. Okay, then we press the enter button. So this means John made revenue from the north twice. Okay, so and let's check from the table. So it's such a small table, so we can quickly flip through. So this is John from the north, that's one. John from the north, that's two. Yeah, and that's everything. This is out, so that's everything. So that is how to use SUMIF, COUNTIF, SUMIFs, and COUNTIFs function in Excel. All right, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.